An engram contains many things: pain, and unconsciousness, and all the perceptions of the incident. But by far the most damaging of these are the spoken words recorded when you're unconscious.
What the hell do you think you're doing out there? You can't relax. You gotta push yourself. You gotta push, 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 and never let up for a second.
Like hypnotic suggestions, these recordings can be triggered by something in the environment and cause you to think or behave irrationally.
I got it. Dave, relax, man. For God's sakes, it's supposed to be a friendly game.
Here's an example of a woman who receives an engram containing spoken language.
Hey, don't walk away from me. I'm talking to you.
This woman is knocked unconscious. Her analytical mind has shut down, and her reactive mind is now recording everything that is happening to and around her. She is told that she's a faker,
You're such a faker.
that she's no good,
You are no good. You hear me? No good.
that she's always messing things up,
You always messing things up.
and that she's always changing her mind.
You always changing your mind. I'm sick of it. I'm so sick of it.
The recording of this engram contains a running record of all her perceptions. In addition to the spoken words, the engram also contains the sound and pain of the kick,
Get up.
the feel of the floor, the sounds of the chair overturning and objects being thrown to the floor, the sound of a motorcycle passing by on the street below, and a faucet running in the bathroom, as well as the smell of the man attacking her and the tone and emotion in his voice.
You hear me?
The fact that she's unconscious is also included in that engram, along with all the other perceptions. To her reactive mind, the pain of the kick is identified with the overturning chair, which is identified with the sound of the passing motorcycle, which is identified with the running faucet, which is identified with the fact that she is a faker, that she is no good and changes her mind, which is identified with the voice tones and emotions of the man.
You always messing things up.
Every single perception in this engram equals every other perception in this engram.
You're always changing your mind.
This engram now lies hidden in her reactive mind, and it can lie there dormant for a very long time until something activates it. What causes this activation? In the future, when this woman is tired or stressed out, and her present environment contains enough similarities to the elements found in the engram, that engram will become active. For example, if one evening the faucet were running and she heard the sound of a motorcycle passing by outside, and at the same time her husband was yelling at someone in a similar tone of voice as he used in the original incident,
What do you mean he's gonna back out?
the engram would become activated. This is called a key-in. A key-in is the first time an engram gets activated. She might experience a pain in her leg where she was kicked earlier. The pain is her reactive mind's stupid attempt to warn her that she is in a dangerous place, that she should leave.
Sweetheart, you ready? It's almost time to go.
And the words spoken in the engram
You're always changing your mind.
will become commands in the present, and she will change her mind.
No, just go without me, honey. I'm really tired.
What?
I just don't want to go.
And although her husband was accusing her of faking her injury at that moment,
You're such a faker.
her reactive mind will take that comment very literally.
I don't want to go there because they think I'm a faker or I feel like a faker. I'm really tired.
That's your problem. You never support.
This woman thinks she's made these decisions rationally. She thinks she's worried about her fight with her husband. She has no idea that she's nervous because her engram has been keyed in. And once keyed in, it can now be easily played back again and again. For example, sometime later when this woman is tired or stressed, she hears a man yelling at someone
Hear me?
as a motorcycle passes by. These are re-stimulators, things in her environment that are similar enough to the perceptions in the engram to cause it to become reactivated or re-stimulated. She starts to feel nervous, but she doesn't know why. When her child knocks over a vase, she begins to act out the engram.
You always messing things up.
Always messing things up.
In other words, she will say and do to her child exactly what her husband said and did to her.
You're
You're such a faker. You're no good.
This behavior is called dramatization. Dramatization is a replay in the present of something that happened in the past. An engram is simply a recording, like a phonograph record.
Shut the hell up. I don't want to hear another word out of you.
You don't hear it until something causes it to play.
Disrespect.
When an engram gets restimulated, the reactive mind merely plays back the recording.
Shut the hell up. I don't want to hear another word out of you.
And you may act exactly like the people contained in that engram,
Just shut the hell up. I don't want to hear another word out of you.
doing and saying exactly the same things that were done and said to you.
Shut the hell up. I don't want to hear another word out of you.
But language isn't the only thing recorded in an engram. There is, among other things, the sensation of pain. After all, you were injured or ill when you received it. So, if the language in an engram gets dramatized, what do you think happens when the recording plays back that pain? Medical history is full of examples of patients whose physical problems seem to have no apparent physical cause. In fact, it's estimated that 70% of all body ills fall into this category known as psychosomatic illness. So what exactly is psychosomatic illness? Well, psycho refers to the mind, and somatic refers to the body. So the term psychosomatic means the mind making the body ill, or illnesses which have been created physically within the body by the mind. And Dianetics has proven that engrams are the cause of all psychosomatic ills. Here's why. This is an engram containing physical pain, an injury to your arm. The pain in your arm is recorded in your reactive mind along with all the other perceptions in the incident. Now, when that engram is later restimulated by similar perceptions in your environment, your reactive mind plays back the recording, and the physical pain it contains may appear. In Dianetics, we say the somatic has turned on. The word somatic refers to any pain, sensation, or body condition you experience as a result of engrams. When a somatic turns on, the part of your body which was injured or ill when the engram was received becomes painful or ill again to some degree. Just how many different kinds of psychosomatic illnesses could you have? Well, that depends in part upon all your previous illnesses and injuries, and in part upon how many conditions your body can generate out of the words and phrases contained in your engrams. You see, the language contained in an engram can have a very damaging effect on your body as well as on your mind. As an example, a little girl falls into a pool. In the commotion, someone near her shouts,
She can't breathe.
This phrase is now stored in her reactive mind. Now, the reactive mind interprets the words in its commands quite literally, regardless of what their meaning might have been when they were spoken. So even after she's grown up, this girl suffers from asthma because her reactive mind is literally telling her body that she can't breathe. This is the reactive mind making the body ill. Consider how many combinations of words there are, and you can imagine how much damage these commands can cause. They can alter your senses, make you feel sick in general, or even keep you from healing. That's why many common physical problems such as allergies, ulcers, arthritis, high blood pressure, migraine headaches, chronic skin conditions, and bizarre aches and pains can be traced back to the harmful effects of engrams. Now, if you've lived a relatively accident-free existence, you may think you don't have many engrams. But the fact is, the greatest source of engrams, and the most damaging, comes from a period of your life that you probably don't remember, as you'll see in a moment.
You might think that if you've never had an accident or trauma or surgery of any kind, that you have no engrams. This would be wonderful if it were true, but unfortunately, it's not. Just because you aren't aware of these incidents doesn't mean they don't exist. As a matter of fact, Dianetics has proven that the majority of engrams occur prior to 2 years of age. In fact, birth itself is an engram, and obviously one that everyone has. But the surprising thing is how many engrams are recorded prior to birth. How is that possible? Well, engrams aren't memories as we think of them. They're recordings. In Dianetics, it's theorized that engrams are probably recorded in the cells themselves. After all, they're the things that get injured. In fact, the word engram is a medical term meaning a lasting trace on a cell. In Dianetics, we're only concerned with what works, and this is a workable theory. When cells divide and multiply, they pass on the recordings of all the engrams they've received, including those in the earliest stages of life. You see, an unborn child is not protected by fully formed bones yet, and the womb is a very tight space. So when something strikes him or presses against him too hard, his cells and organs are easily injured, and a prenatal engram is recorded. For example, if mama bumps into something, baby gets knocked unconscious. If mama sneezes, baby gets squashed. If papa becomes passionate, baby feels like he's in a washing machine. When mama gets morning sickness, baby gets an engram. And so it goes. So you see, you could have many prenatal engrams, and each one can cause aberration.
Finally! Where have you been?
I told you I'd be late.
All night. I don't put me in.
Like any engram, everything that is perceived during a prenatal engram is recorded, including all the pains and sounds. The emotions of the people present,
Being ridiculous, I called you.
and everything that everyone is saying.
It is always my fault.
I can't win.
The fact that the unborn baby doesn't understand the meaning of these words doesn't matter. The engram is merely a series of impressions recorded on the cells of his body. When this child has grown, whenever that engram is restimulated,
Always my fault.
that recording will be played back, and he most certainly will understand the meaning of those recorded words.
You okay? If we don't get the account, it won't be because we didn't give it our best shot.
No, it'll be my fault. It is always my fault. I can't win.
Of course, he has no idea this engram exists, so he'll justify his behavior. So you see, it's not so much what you have done, but what has been done to you that causes your aberrations. And most of it happened to you before you were born.